Alrighty, welcome back to the Jays Center podcast. Owen Hill, joined as always by Jesse Burrell. Jesse, we've had some internet connections going on today. It's been frustrating. This is our third time trying to record this. Jays have lost 6 straight. Can I just get a little bit of a vibe check?
Vibes are not good around this Blue Jays team, just like with the Blue Jays, when you struggle sometimes, maybe us trying to get together with internet, we can struggle sometimes. But if we hit that big home run in the end, we will get there. Unfortunately, the Toronto Blue Jays right now are not hitting those big home runs. They're getting down early, down often, and their little fake comebacks towards the end are leaving us little to be desired. So vibes are not good around the Toronto Blue Jays right now. That'll happen when you get swept by a team you are chasing in the wild card race at home. To lose, 6 in a row. Not a good time, not in a good spot to be a Toronto Blue Jays team. And this team's fortunes look very different now than they did even a week ago.
Yeah, man. The first couple times we tried to record this, I kind of equated it to running a long distance race or a middle distance race. And you want to get out decent, but you don't want to get out too hot. You don't want to be the guy that's in first place until the final lap, until the end of the race. You want to let someone ahead of you do the work. And that's kind of the pattern that I thought the Jays were doing early on in the season. They were kind of getting healthy, battling some injuries, keeping their heads above water, kind of staying in the race in the middle of the pack, but not doing too much work too early. And then it kind of felt like they were making their move. They got back to 500 on that first game against the Houston Astros. Vibes were really high. They were kind of had a little extended stretch of play, including that winning 4-5, sweeping Boston and taking one from the Cubs. It was good, man. Things were up. The Jays were going to make their move. And then as they do it, they kind of fall right on their face. They trip and fall. And it feels like, honestly, after losing 6 straight now, they're 39-45. They're 7th in the wild card standings. They just made 4 straight fake comebacks. And of course, have we mentioned that they lost 6 straight since getting back to 500? It feels like their race is over.
Yeah, they did exactly what the opposite of what you wanted them to do. Getting back to 500 wasn't really the hard part. It was moving past that. And the Blue Jays got to 500, and then they're like, nah, we're tired. We've put in too much energy. We didn't draft well behind those runners you were talking about. I've related this a lot to, like, you're playing Mario Kart. You're sitting in like 3rd or 4th place. You've just got those red shells, or you got your star and you're ready to go up and you're ready to make your move to the finish line. Instead, you trip on a banana and you fall off the map. And that's how I feel about where the Blue Jays are right now at this point.
And you know what I would say about that is I would say you probably threw that banana yourself a couple laps earlier, because it's Louis Varland bouncing a ball to Alejandro Kirk and letting Jared Kelenic score from second base on a pass ball. Like, when was the last time you saw that in a major league game, man?
Been a long time. I feel like that happened once, maybe, and I could be making this up, like in the mid 2000s or something. I saw a runner score from second. Like Marco Scutaro might have done it. That's how long it was since I saw a runner score from second base on a wild pitch, but it doesn't happen. And of course, it would happen to the Blue Jays at that moment when you needed it the most, with your best pitcher on the mound. Like, everything, it feels like everything that could go wrong has been going wrong for the Toronto Blue Jays, especially amongst this losing streak.
Yeah, man. And the vibes were set for this episode of the Jays Center podcast well before that happened. This was going to be a miserable episode, even if they had clawed that victory out. And you set the tone by kind of letting Mackenzie Gore get through 7 relatively unscathed, letting Nate Eovaldi go 7 shutty against you with 9 strikeouts. And Nate Eovaldi, good pitcher, man, but come on, like, it's Nate Eovaldi. Like, having Dylan Cease get outdueled by Cal Quantrill of all pitchers, and then, like, I think the cherry on top was 6 scoreless from Kumar Rocker. Like, Jesse, man, it's just these are good pitchers. The Rangers are a good pitching staff, but you missed DeGrom. Like, you missed their guy, and you still, like, you barely even put up a whimper against these guys.
Yeah, I think the Jays only scored 1 time off the Texas Rangers starters, and that was the 5th inning in Game 1 against Mackenzie Gore. That was it. They didn't touch another run off any other starting pitchers. And, on top of that, they gave up first-inning runs, I believe, in every single game this season, twice to the first batter of the game. So you're playing from behind early, and, baseball's hard, just period, full stop. But when you're having to play from behind all the time, especially when your offense isn't scoring runs, look this up, Owen. The Jays are the worst offense in all of baseball in scoring runs in innings 1 through 5. Pair that with, your pitchers who have been, especially starting pitchers who struggled in this series here as well. You're playing from behind, and it's hard to play from behind. You got pressure on you. pressure on the manager, pressure on the offense, pressure on the defense, and all that pressure, it can get to you and it can cause you to collapse. And I think we're seeing that pressure mount up here, especially in this series.
Well, it's just hard when you're losing in every single game to kind of like have that self-belief that you can win. And it's something that the 2025 Jays were great at. And I think there may be some 2025 conversation to be had in this episode. But I think it's just when you're losing in every game, and even though like you're making these fake comebacks, like I wrote in my notes twice that Kazuma Okamoto homers in the 8th and 9th innings almost made me feel something, but they didn't, because like genuinely, did you ever really believe that they were going to win either of those games?
The closest I came in this series was when Nathan Lucas hit that 2-run home run in the 8th inning of the finale, because at least that tied the game and you thought, okay, Louis Varland's coming up, you have a chance to get some runs there. But even then, I think my hope meter, if we're going to have such a thing, was probably around like 20%. It's like you kind of felt like more like it's going to happen. It's going to be a creative way to find out how we lose this game. And spoiler alert, it was. Then you thought, hey, maybe the Blue Jays can actually go out and win this. And, Toronto sports is what it is. I think we're just kind of accustomed and used to that. And, we saw it again here in this series.
I hate that Toronto sports thing, man. It's such like a loser mentality. It's like, we can't have anything nice. I hate it. I think the Toronto sports thing, I think there's a little bit of conversation for that here, because I'm curious. I think that the 2025 team built a lot of good grace with this fan base. I think it's kind of turned, I don't know if it's given like an infinite leash to the front office, but it's given them a much longer leash. You don't hear conversations about Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro like you used to anymore. Shatkins as the worst people you would know would call them. And I think it's given like a really long leash to the guys on the team, a lot of good graces. I think the Jays have built up so much goodwill with this fan base and with the fans in Toronto and across the country. And honestly, this 2026 season was gravy, because a season like 2025 can fuel a fan base for such a long time. Having the chance to watch them get so close and regardless of how close they got, but just so many magical moments in a team that was genuinely beloved by everybody. I think it made this 2026 season feel not good, but like possible, digestible. Like we can handle this because we just got 2025. If this 2026 season had come just after 2024, we'd all be miserable. We'd be calling for heads, right? So what I'm trying to ask you here in a very long-winded roundabout way is, how long do these good graces last?
Well, I think, unfortunately for us who are the everydayers and we're stuck in here going through this battle, it's going to last probably for the whole 2026 season here. It kind of feels like we're in a hangover. We took that 2025, we drank that extra champagne, we had more, we stole energy from the next season to get it all and try to push in to win that championship last year. Because of that, we saw extensions for John Schneider, Ross Atkins and company. So I think we're going to kind of have to sit here and struggle and I guess pay the bill for that big run in 2025. And, going forward, we'll see how things go. Maybe if there's a lockout or a labor stoppage or the game looks different going into 2027, then maybe we'll start to demand, winning and excellence and stuff again. But we saw this with just the Texas Rangers after they won their World Series. Their next year was dreadful. And you kind of see this around baseball, a World Series hangover, if you will, except if you're the Dodgers, because they're just invincible, it seems like. But the Blue Jays are going through their own little hangover right now. And maybe the lights are just a little too bright. The sounds are just a little bit too loud right now. And maybe we just need a bit more hydration in our lives. But it's not a good hangover for the Toronto Blue Jays right now.
No, man, I don't want to be the Texas Rangers. I want to be the Dodgers. And that's kind of, I know that's not who we can expect to be, but even look at the Yankees. Like the Yankees made it just as far as we did last year in 2024, the year before. And guess where the Yankees were the next year and where they are every year. They're competing for the playoffs. And this Blue Jays team should be competing for the division, not just the playoffs. And I know they've had a lot of injuries. I know there's a million excuses, but to be honest, it's just the team on the field has to be better.
Yep. Plain and simple, full stop. We're getting it's been the theme of like every episode we talked to, like in this series specifically, the starting pitching was quite dreadful. I believe our starters had a 7.52 ERA in this series. That's not going to cut it when you're not scoring runs. Vlad still has just 4 home runs, by the way. Like Springer has not been it. Like you're just not getting the contributions you need from all the players. And, when you look up and you see that player performance and you see our record, which is 5 games below 500 or like maybe even 6 now after the 6-game losing streak. 6. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. This is probably where this team should be, like a negative 30 something run differential as well. Like, yeah, we should be 5 or 6 games below 500. And until those players start getting better, the team's not going to play better. And fortunately, we haven't seen a ton of signs that these players are going to start playing better.
Yeah. Okay. So we're 10 minutes in. We haven't talked about Vlad yet. We're going to. He's going to get his own segment, I'm sure. I think we should rip apart this series here. And the fact that the Jays are now halfway through this 2026 season, thank God it's halfway over. Thank goodness we don't have to. We're halfway home. But no, like I think we're going to have to do some like halfway point, kind of look back at some of the highlights and lowlights of the first half, and then maybe a little bit quick preview of the second half. So let's quickly rip apart this series, starting with game 1. Kevin Gausman, brutal again in his second straight outing. He got through 6, kind of a miracle, but gave up 6 earned, 10 hits, walked 2, only struck out 4, and of course gave up 3 homers. Jesse, Kevin Gausman, is this starting to be a problem for the Jays?
I'm getting a little worried that the big inning workload is starting to catch up to him. He threw more pitches in all of baseball last season than anybody else. A few things. If you take Kevin Gausman's last 3 starts, right? He had that 7-inning start against the Yankees where the splitter looked phenomenal. He had like a billion whiffs. I remember we going through there. And then he goes into Wrigley Field, walks Pete Crow Armstrong on 4 pitches. The walks were an issue, struggled mightily. In this game, he worked out he was pounding the zone. Like he had an intent. He's like, I'm not going to have those walk issues. Threw like, I think it was an 11 or 13 pitch at bat to Jock Peterson, who takes him yard and gets him right off the start. It was a different type of struggle in this one than it was in his other starts. I looked a little deeper. I looked at the metrics on the splitter and stuff. It didn't seem that bad. It just felt like it was the location that was a major issue for him. Post-game, Kevin Gausman said he's having an issue with like his plant leg, which prevented him from getting that fastball up into the top of the zone. So sounds like a mechanical issue that can be fixed. The splitter on the metrics looked on par as they did with the Yankee stuff, which gives me some hope. But Kevin Gausman kind of has these runs, these moments where he has this subpar stretch. He's had them in years past. Now he's just having them in the middle of the season here. Last season, he turned it all around. And, I like to think he can do it again, especially if it is just a quick mechanical change for him.
No, like I'm the number 1 Kevin Gausman guy. I think it's not the end of the world. I think he's basically got this entire season as far as runway goes, especially where the Jays are. And like they need, if this team is going to do anything, it's going to be not because Kevin Gausman, but it's going to be part of Kevin Gausman being really, really good down the stretch. Although the season ERA is now 4.36, his last 5 starts, Jesse, 7.62 in 26 innings. That's 5 starts, 8 homers. That's really bad. And then the splitter is in the zone now, just 25.1% this season. So this might be an approach thing, or it's a splitter thing. You said the splitter the stuff plus in the splitter is looking good in your eyes. I kind of saw the exact opposite. I'm actually kind of concerned with it. The fact that he's zoning it less tells me that he is less comfortable throwing it for strikes. And because he's less comfortable throwing it for strikes, I think it tells me that hitters are on it more, at least in his mind. The stuff plus on the splitter this season is 101, so above average, but it was 108 in 2025. So that is a big drop off. And if I want to look at the last 5 starts where he has that ERA in the mid 7s, the stuff plus below 100 in all of them. And in the last 2, 93 and 94 respectively. So it's a lot of numbers there. Not many of them were very encouraging, especially recently.
Right. And I think part of that comes back down to, though, the fastball, right? Like Kevin Gausman being a true 2-pitch pitcher. If he can locate that fastball and he can get in there, he can get hitters thinking fastball. The splitter does play up. But because he doesn't have that ability with the fastball right now, hitters can kind of take that approach against the splitter. They're easier to foul it off and whatnot. And I think they kind of go hand in hand, especially for a guy who is a 2-pitch pitcher. So I think if you see the fastball command get a little better, you'll see better results on that splitter. And that's the recipe for success for Kevin Gausman. So, but you got to see it sooner rather than later for him. Let me tell you.
Yeah, no, because they can't keep running out. Like they can't start every game down 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 5-0. You can't do like you just can't win baseball games like that. So it's got to be better. Anything else from game 1? Like the offense is the offense, dude. Like this is the game that Vlad had the 2-run single in the next game. Vlad in this game, by the way, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Just keep that in the back of your mind for going forward in this conversation because there's a little bit of a theme here. But like, yeah, it was the fact that Mackenzie Gore got through 7, just those 3 earned runs, and it just a really rough game. And this is a game that you kind of needed to win after losing 2 straight to the Astros. And I think this game really set the tone for the rest of this series.
Yeah, and we can touch on Vlad if we want, but I just want to touch on the offense completely as a whole. Oh, and we saw 15 Blue Jays batters get at least 3 at-bats in this series. 10 of the 15 batters had 2 hits or less. Only Lucas Jimenez, Kaz, and Ernie Clement had more than 2 hits on the series. And that includes 17 at-bats from Vlad, 13 at-bats from Kirk, 12 at-bats from George, 11 at-bats from Varsho, hitless series from Davis Schneider, Jesus Sanchez, Luis Arias, Brandon Valenzuela. Like, it's just yikes from all over aspects of the Blue Jays offense. Not good as a whole. Like, not only is it the superstars, it's like the guys later down in the lineup too that do not really get bat on ball as much as you want them to. And, you know, starting pitching wasn't well, offense wasn't well. You know, their defense wasn't even that good in this series. It's not a surprise looking at that the Blue Jays did get swept at their home ballpark.
Yeah, man. I think, like I said, I think game 1 of this series really set the tone for the rest of it. And I think it bled really, really hard into game 2. I don't even know. There's no nickname for Patrick Corbin anymore. Like, it's awful, man. Yeah, it was 4 1/3 from him. Of course, gave up another first inning or 3-run first inning, 7 hits, 5 earned runs on total. Only walked 1, but struck out 5, so that's good. Although his ERA on the season is now 5.09. Like, we're getting who Patrick Corbin is. I think it's kind of dead with him. Like, I think if I never saw him pitch again, that'd probably be the best thing for my mental health, because like, it's an 8.69 ERA in his last 4 starts. Mm-hmm. He's got through 5 innings just once in June, Jesse.
Yes, and I agree. We did see the pitch count get up towards 100 again, but that's simply just because he kind of had to, right, to get this bullpen going, especially after the Gausman rough start. And like, you know, and like even through 100 pitches, like you only got into the 5th inning, only 4 1/3. Like, it's not good. Like, I have on my notes here that Patrick Corbin is just ass. Like, I'm ready. He can go. The problem is, like, unless you want to stretch out Spencer Miles again, or go with a run with Chad Dallas or something, or maybe call Simeon Woods Richardson back and try to get him back in here. But like, thank you for what you've done, Patrick Corbin. You've had some good starts for us, but I don't think this Blue Jays team is going to be anywhere close to the playoff push if Patrick Corbin is still making regular turns in this rotation.
No, it's automatic loss day when he starts.
Yeah. Yeah, the win day thing we had was fun. We knew it. The reason why it was fun is because we knew it wasn't going to last. And sure enough, we've got the bill for that too. And it's not. And it's a tough watch too, which is really tough, because it would be different if he was getting like blooped and bleeders and, you know, the odd one would sneak over, but it wasn't his fault. Like, he just looks awful, which doesn't help.
Yeah. No, I know. And that's why you're down 5-0 in this game. And like, we're forced into this fake comeback gimmick after Nate Eovaldi finishes up his 7 shutout innings with 9 strikeouts. So you're down 6-0 in game 1, thanks to Kevin Gausman, 5-0 in game 2, thanks to Patrick Corbin. Like I said, the Kazuma 2-run homer in the bottom of the 8th almost made me feel something. Of course, it didn't. Vlad in this one, 1 for 4 with a single. I think that's pretty much sums up this whole game.
Yeah, I agree. And like, the whole numbers on the series were not good for Vlad. After game 3, Owen, when the Blue Jays lost and Vlad was the last guy out, I think he went 0 for 5 in that game. Did you hear the boos coming down from Rogers Center? Like the fans are starting to get fed up with Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Like, they're getting fed up with his 37 weighted runs created plus in June. Like, I'm shocked, Jesse. I'm shocked to hear that.
Yeah. And it's like, we've had this Vlad conversation so many times before, right? It's just like, the fix seems so obvious. Like, we're watching from TV, like, stop chasing on those bad pitches. You have a great approach. Start swinging at the pitches you know you can do damage with. You know what's in there. Quit trying to press so hard, right? If you do the right thing, swing hard at the pitches in the zone, the results will come. It feels so obvious. Then why isn't it obvious? You know, like, there's something going on there. John Schneider was asked post-game if he would ever consider benching Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He said no, he's not going to do it. He understands how good this thing is. But like, I'm going to ask you, Owen, would you consider maybe benching Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for a little bit?
No, he's not going to figure it out from the bench. I would, if he's dealing with anything, if this is not an approach issue, which it obviously is an approach issue, he's chasing 10% more in 2026 than he did in 2025, 31.2% this year, 21.5% last year, so almost 10%. Sorry for that. So, like, it obviously is an approach issue. I think there's a lot of people who've been trying to break down his swing online and stuff like that. Like, me and you aren't swing doctors. Like, we're not going to sit here and try and be like, oh, he's not getting his hips all the way through the zone. And maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. Maybe he's wrapping his bat too much or whatever. Like, to me, he's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. There are so many different ways to hit. As long as you get into the same position on contact, that's what matters. Long way to say it. If his physical health is harming his ability to hit the baseball hard and hit home runs and be an effective hitter, yeah, I would put him on the IL. Although if he's on this roster, he's going to be playing, and he's going to be playing first base, and he's going to be hitting second or third. And unfortunately, that's just like how this team is built, and that is who he is. He is, I don't want to say he's earned that, but he has through the first, 6 years of his Blue Jays career and signing that big extension. Like, this is his role. And if he's not going to be successful, the team's not going to be successful.
We have seen a couple glimpses over this series and in the Astro series of him like reaching for his back. We've seen it a few times on his side. And I wonder, like I said, not a swing doctor, but I wonder if that is like causing issues with him really trusting his hips and rotation to really get through the zone. Okay. I could probably look up some stats too that could back this up at some point, but I wonder if that maybe is an issue. And for a guy who's like been incredibly durable, who plays a lot of the time, it's like the Jose Barrios thing. It's like sometimes, it's not a good thing that you have such a good endurance streak because you don't want to stop. You don't want to give that up. You want to keep going, even if it's best for the team is probably to have you sit out for a while, but your pride says otherwise and you want to keep in there and keep doing your thing. And, I think maybe it might be best for Vlad, if he is truly even dealing with something, just a 10-day, maybe a mental reset, because we know the superstar guy is in there somewhere. And, you're hurting the team for the time being. 37 WRC plus, yeah, that's not going to do it. You're hurting the team, and you got to find a way to get him going. And if that's what it takes, then I think that's what you should do.
Yeah, he's been terrible, man. Like a 498 OPS in June. He's on pace for less than 8 home runs this season.
He was the Blue Jays worst player this series by terms of Fangraphs WAR, negative 0.3. So he cost the Blue Jays a third of a win just in these 4 games alone. Just one. Yeah,
this is the worst version of Vlad we've seen, probably, period.
Yeah, he slumped a bit in his rookie season, but he was like a 19-year-old rookie. This has been the worst it's been, and it's not even really close. And is it a case of guy gets his money, now he doesn't have to try as hard? Could be a case of a lot of things. Does he just miss Bo Bichette so much? Maybe him coming back this weekend will get that going. I don't know, man. We're grasping at straws. We're grasping at narratives. It's just been bad, plain and simple. And unfortunately, I think you're right. You just got to put him in the lineup and hope he just figures it out. It might not be until next year. We'll see.
Yeah, I think, with that, I think wrapped up the first 2 games of this series, both losses to the Texas Rangers. Spoiler alert, we have 2 more losses to the Rangers to break down on the other side of this break. We're also going to get to some season highlights and lowlights, some interesting stats from the first half, a little second half preview, and maybe some roster moves to break down, and of course the series preview at the end of the episode. Jesse, we'll talk in a second. Alrighty, we're back on the Jays Center podcast. As I mentioned, it's time to kind of continue tearing apart this series, really rip into it here. Game 3, Jays lose 7-4. You had your ace on the mound, man. Is Dylan Cease kind of the stopper? The last time the Jays had won a game going into this game was when Dylan Cease pitched. And what does Dylan Cease do? But just absolutely limp through 4 2/3 innings, gave up just 4 hits, but 4 earned, walked 5, he struck out 10. It's cool. It's exciting. But to be honest, if it's not going to lead to wins, I'm kind of sick of this strike everyone out gimmick, but also walk everyone else who you don't strike out. And in the end, you give up multiple runs and can not even get through 5. Really?
Yeah, it's the frustrating thing with Dylan Cease. It's been the whole way his whole career. He struck out the first 2 batters of the game, and you thought, okay, here we go. Now we can go. And then there was a hit. There was a bunch of walks in there. Some very uncompetitive pitches. You could see where Kirk was setting up. Dylan Cease wasn't even close to hitting that target sometimes. And, he was able to figure it out. He put together some good stretches, some good innings there. He gave the team a chance, I suppose. But he even said at postgame, if you're throwing 105 pitches or so, you need to be in the 6th or 7th inning, not muttering your way through 5, which is what Dylan Cease did here. He knows it. He knows it's got to be an issue. The team really needed it, coming off 2 real bad starts from Gausman and Patrick Corbin, who gutted their way to get as far as they possibly could. Fortunately, Dylan Cease wasn't able to do it here either. And it's going to be the battle for Dylan Cease to take that next step. He's got to find a way to be more pitch efficient, whether that's attacking early in the zone or just having more repeatable mechanics to get your way through the whole way. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but he's got to find a way to get better because, again, the team is struggling when you can't find a way to pitch deeper into games, no matter how good Dylan Cease is on a per inning basis.
Yeah, 5 walks is just not okay, man. You can't do that. You can't walk 5 and 4 2/3 innings. You just can't walk a guy an inning. You can't.
13 in his last 3 starts for Dylan Cease.
Adds up, passes the eye test, and unfortunately, a lot of things, a lot of negative statistics pass the eye test for this Blue Jays team. And I think like it's the worst because you desperately needed this win. Like you just needed it so bad. You'd lost what 4 straight? Yeah, 4 straight coming into this one. You just need a win so desperately. Just need to feel good about yourself. You're at home. You got your guy on the mound, and that's what he gives you. And like we can dig into the pitch metrics and whatever. And like if Matt Creeley was back here on this episode, like he'd be telling me how great his IVB was on his fastball and how nasty the slider was. And that's awesome, and it's true. But the fact of the matter is, like, it comes down to wins and losses at some point this season. And through the halfway mark here, I'm sick of talking about like the peripheral stuff, and I want to talk about the Blue Jays and why they're winning the games and doing the little things right. And it's just not winning baseball.
We like the peripheral stuff because it's more predictable, right? It tells you how much more likely a person is going to perform. But and they don't hand out World Series trophies for the best IBV fastballs in the league, you know? Fortunately, all that matter are the results on the field. And yes, it's great that Dylan Cease has the stuff. We love that stuff too. But if it's not helping the team win, which in this series it was not, it's tough. It's a challenge, you know?
Yeah, no, it's very well put, Jesse. And I think it all comes down to like Dylan Cease gets outdueled by Cal Quantrill, like the Rangers probably 5th starter. Like the offense lets him get through 4 innings, giving up just 2 hits and 1 walk. Like they struck out 5 times against him. They made him look nasty, dude. Like it's just frustrating baseball. And of course, like you were down 6-0 in this baseball game as well, weren't you? Yeah, you were. So
yes, you were.
Like this is all 3 games so far that we've talked about in the series. You were down 5 or more runs before you could score.
Yep, and that's the big issue. I don't know if I said this off the top, but the Blue Jays just haven't scored runs early in the games. They're the lowest scoring team through 5 innings in baseball. Like it's just that needs to step to. Like we need to get out to a banger. We need to find a way to attack a starting pitcher. I don't know if that's preparation. Are the hitters just not ready? Like I don't know what it is. It forces your starting pitchers to try to be perfect. We know that doesn't go well. Chris Bassett mentioned that a few times when he was here during his struggles. It's like it's a ripple effect throughout the whole team. Like, yeah. So it's like, they got to find a way to get some runs. And with Cal, shout out Port Hope, Ontario, I guess, maybe coming in here and trying to put on a show for Canada. But man, yeah, that was a rough watch too.
Yeah. Did you feel anything when Yohendrick Pinango comes back up and hits that homer or no?
That was sick. I enjoyed it. I do love a good lefty swing to go up and crush some home runs too. But then, he kind of gave it back on defense. He had a couple balls drop in front of him. And it's like, I'm kind of torn on how to feel about Yohendrick Pinango because the team desperately needs the bat. But like the outfield defense is so bad. Like it's noticeably bad. And it's also hurting the team. So like, I'm very conflicted on how I should feel about Pinango right now.
Yeah. He's got a -4 fielding run value and pretty limited time in a corner. Like he's bad, dude. He's really is a bad defender, and he hits the ball hard. And when he gets like the ball in the air like that to the pull side, it's exciting. But you giving it back is the exact right way to phrase it because he gave it right back. And like you even saw Cease kind of the way he reacted when one of those balls fell in, and Cease is like, "How the hell does that not like?" It was a pop up. How the hell is that not caught? And it falls in no man's land. And it's not no man's land, it's Pinango land. And he's just not where he needs to be.
Yeah, I think from a roster building perspective, I think the Blue Jays went too far in thinking that their outfield defense was going to be too elite, that they could put these like not so great corner outfielders out there. I think that was a problem. Jesus Sanchez, Yohendrick Pinango, even Santander is going to fit that mold as not a good corner outfielder. Like, I think the Blue Jays might look at what happened this season and realize that might have been a mistake, and we need better corner outfield defense going forward.
I think they do. I think that's one of the things that made them so good last year, is it not?
Yep. And like Nathan Lucas is trying, although he did have a bad one that he overran in this series, but he also made some good catches there too. So like, I think we're at the point now where put Nathan Lucas in there. He should be your first option. If you're going to start a lefty against a lefty on the mound, it's like Varsho or Lucas. And I'd probably lean Lucas right now, to be honest, as that guy in there just for the defense that you can get in a corner right now.
Yeah, I agree. Did I mention Vlad? 0 for 5 in this one.
Oh,
with
yes.
one strikeout. Just wanted to like keep an eye on what he's been doing. I know not many people are really aware of how Vlad's been performing this season, but just 0 for 5 with one strikeout for Vlad in Game 3 of this series. You ready to move on to the finale here?
Just a lot of ground balls too, and there was one he didn't run out, which didn't sit well with a lot of people in the Blue Jays land there. So, speed never slumps or effort never slumps. Vlad's not even doing that right now. Anyways, hit me with Game 4.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that was like a tailor-made double play ball,
sure.
I guess.
Run it anyway.
I know. It's hard. It's hard because you mentioned he plays every day, and a guy like Vlad, big dude, it's hard to give max effort on routine ground balls every time going off the line. It's hard, man. Like 162 is a grind. I know we've had this conversation, and you're right. It looks really bad when it burns you like that. To be honest, there's so many other things. Like, it doesn't matter if he just starts hitting home runs. Like, if he was hitting home runs, nobody would care at all.
Yeah, but he's not, Owen, right? And so, like, the fact that he's not, right, means you got to find a way to help your team win when you're struggling. Vlad didn't do that.
No, I have a hard time. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate a little bit here.
Yes.
Like I feel like there's so many things we can rip into him about. It feels like kicking someone, like it feels like rubbing salt in the wound a little bit, doing that conversation with him right now. But you are right. Like I'm with you. Game 4, Shane Beber back on the mound after a really, really, really rough one in his debut against Houston. A little bit better this time, but really not that much better. Like, got you through 5 1/3, which is good. It's a step forward up to 92 pitches, which is good to see. I think an encouraging step in his rehab and getting him back to where he needs to be. Unfortunately, the Blue Jays at 6 games below 500 as we bring this episode to you, they don't have a lot of runway to kind of rehab a guy and bring a guy back slowly. They need results quickly, and they need them now. And this performance from Bieber really wasn't that. Gave up another leadoff home run to Jock Peterson, his second of the series. He got 10 whiffs, which is better than the 6 we saw in his first start, but gave up 10 hard hit balls again. Did you really like much of what you saw from Bieber? Because the results are fine, but I didn't really like the process much at all.
Yeah, you hit the hammer on the head. I was going to make those exact same points. The Blue Jays need wins now. I think this did look better. He is a command pitcher at heart, and the command was not necessarily there. I think that'll just come with a little bit more reps. I was encouraged. I think he struck out the side in the 5th inning, I believe it was. That was good to see for Shane Beber. He also got his 1,000th career strikeout. Shout out to him for doing that too. I take this as a sign of encouragement, but again, it's going to take more reps, more repetitions for him to feel like he's truly back. And the Blue Jays can't really afford that right now. And that's not a fault of Shane Beber. That's more of a fault of the Toronto Blue Jays and the team as a whole. But yeah, that's kind of what I saw. He's coming back. There are signs. Still a ways to go, though.
Yeah, 4 walks from a command guy. Pretty ugly.
Yeah, exactly.
I think like that's something that he needs to work on going forward. Didn't even really burn him. Like he had 9 base runners in 5 1/3 innings, so almost a 2 whip essentially there. Really bad, something we've seen way too many Blue Jays pitchers kind of do this season. And I think with the amount of hard contact that he was giving up, and we saw the defense kind of bail him out, Vlad with the diving play,
Kaz had one too.
Saving, and then Kaz was the other one. Like, these are both plays that save runs. And didn't Andres Jimenez have one as well, I believe?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So, like, these are run-saving plays that got made by the Blue Jays or by the Blue Jays defense. So say what you want about the defense. Like, they actually came up to play in this one, and they bailed them out big time, and they still couldn't even do enough just to pick up this win. They were down 2-0 in this one. They did the fake comeback thing. Nathan Lucas hits the home run. That one you said almost made you feel something.
Yeah,
but even
that
then,
was the one.
Never really, like, after you let Kumar Rocker, dude. Like, come on, man. Just kind of like, oh my God. I don't even have anything nice to say about it, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
I read the Rangers side of the recap after that game, and they were saying, wow, this is incredible for Rocker. Usually he needs an opener. He did, and he just dominated. And it's like, that seems to be the kind of storyline. Who was it in the finale of the Astros series? Was it Mike Burrows, who had been struggling a lot, and the Blue Jays offense just made him look like a stud? Like, it's just, it's been a constant battle going forward here. And it's just, until the Blue Jays start hitting, which they're not, this is going to be the storyline of their season, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then this is the game we kind of already talked about a little bit, but like the Louis Varland pass ball, wild pitch, probably like Alejandro Kirk, one of the best blocking catchers in baseball, has a ball go off his mask and end up almost in the Rangers dugout. And if it did end up in the Rangers dugout, like, would that have been better? Like, they wouldn't have allowed Kelnick to score, would they have?
I think they would have, because he would have had third, and then he would have got the extra base. So yes.
Okay. Well, so it was dumb and bad either way, but just like self-inflicted, like that could only happen to the 2026 Blue Jays, man.
Yeah, and like, sure, it wasn't a good pitch by Louis Varland, but that's kind of, you want him to bounce that ball in that place in the dirt there, right? Maybe not that far, but still, it's tough to criticize Varland for what he did there. So yeah, it's just bad luck. The baseball gods were not shining on us. And honestly, if you score some runs off Kumar Rocker, it's not a freaking problem.
Nope, exactly. So you probably should have won this game. Like, you would have seen the 2025 Blue Jays win this game like 8-3.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest. Unfortunate. And did I mention Vlad's stat line for this game? 0 for 4 with another strikeout. Common theme going on there. I'm sorry. Like, it's just like we can dig into everything else, but it's going to come back to Vlad. And like, it's been so bad from him that it's hard to not just bring every single point made back to, but it wouldn't matter if Vlad was hitting, because it wouldn't, man. Like, we've seen him carry this team before, and he is actually like not single-handedly, they're hurting themselves in a lot of other ways, but he's not contributing to bailing any water.
The positive is, I suppose, if you're going to look for that, the Blue Jays did add another first baseman onto their roster this series. 2 episodes ago, when I asked you if Sean Keyes is going to see some big league time, I did not expect it to happen literally a week later, but we got our big league debut from Sean Keyes, 1 for 4 with a good single in his at bat. What'd you see from the big guy?
Not much. Obviously, limited run. We only saw him in one of these games, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so like good swing on that hit. Always good to get the first one out of the way early. I think if he can hit for a little bit of power, it'll be fun. I think it's to be determined, though. Like, I need to see more before I really have a take on it. I think the path to playing time with him is weird. It's a weird roster fit. He's not a guy that plays good outfield defense, which is kind of something that the Jays have been desperate for. He's like a guy that is going to overlap with Vlad heavily. So weird roster fit. I think this kind of tells you, it's a move that kind of tells you how the Jays front office feels about their team right now, and they feel desperate because they are desperate for any spark right now. And what he's doing in AAA, if he can bring that to the big leagues, it would be that spark. But obviously, that's a lot to ask.
Yeah, desperation was the word I was going to use as well. We would have never seen the Blue Jays front office do this sort of thing with one of their better hitting prospects, but I think they figured, they need power now. It's great for Buffalo, but the Blue Jays desperately need it. John Schneider did say, too, they're going to try to find a way to get him some regular runway here, which I don't know whether that means, more DH days for Vlad and more rest days for Springer, or maybe we do see some Springer days in the outfield. If that won't help the outfield defense problem we are talking about. But John Schneider did say he's going to want to give Sean Keyes a bit of a run here. So I think it'll be very interesting to see what they do to get his bat in the lineup more often.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not like exciting. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like you're bringing up your number one prospect here. Like,
because Sean Keyes had played some third base in the minor leagues, but Kaz, remember, for all the talk about him might seeing some outfield rep during the season, has not. He's played at third base every single time. Like, and you're not taking Kaz out of the lineup. So it's like, it's going to be tough. It wasn't too long ago this team had Spencer Horwitz playing at second base. So maybe they get creative with something like that, but you're going to sacrifice the defense to do so. It's a tough fit right now.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I think we're going to take this last break here, and then on the other side, we're going to get to some season highlights. I think there are more season lowlights. I definitely have like twice as many lowlights as I do highlights written down here. And like there are a couple of roster moves. Like, did we mention that the corresponding move for Sean Keyes, Jesus Sanchez on the IL? So that's an interesting conversation. Davis Schneider also optioned again. And of course, we're going to series preview Bo Bichette and the Mets back in town for Canada Day weekend. We'll talk to you on the other side. All right, back on the J Center podcast for this final segment here. It's been bleak, and I think maybe we can bring a little bit of positivity. Jesse, I'm curious. You said in your conversation, it was your idea to do these season highlights and season lowlights from the first half, and I think I was like, do you really have any highlights? And you were like, yes, I do. So I'm curious to hear what you have because I don't have much.
Now, full disclosure here, full caveat, there aren't many. There aren't a ton of good highlights here in this series, in this season so far. But I do want to shout out the Blue Jays did have a handful of walk-off wins early in the year. Ernie Clement had one. Andres Jimenez had one. Walk-off wins are always fun. If you're asking me for, I guess, what my favorite or signature positive moment on the season is so far, it's got to be when Trey Savage went into Yankee Stadium and shut down Cam Schlittler and the Yankees, and the Jays won that game 2-0 thanks to a very key Andres Jimenez. I believe it was like an 11-pitch walk or something in that game. Very good stuff there. That was a positive that's going to stick with me on the season so far. Let me tell you, Owen, there's not a lot of big positive Blue Jays moments so far on the season, even if they have 30-some wins on the year.
Yeah, the opening day walk-off and honestly that opening series for me is kind of the highlights. It felt like a kind of a straight extension from 2025. It felt like the 2025 Blue Jays had just walked right into 2026. The atmosphere at the Rogers Center was unreal. It felt like a playoff game again. Like in March against the Athletics. It was insane. It was fun to see. And it was like my body, my mind were still in playoff and World Series mode, and getting to watch like high pressure baseball like that again. It felt like exactly what we needed. And it felt like that was going to set the tone for the season. Obviously, we know now that wasn't the case, but if I can be honest with myself and take myself back to that time, it was really, really enjoyable to watch. The other one I wrote down is the Brandon Valenzuela like double off the wall in Boston to complete the sweep right after blowing a game. Felt like a moment. It felt like that was kind of the moment the Blue Jays were making their move. That brought them to one game under 500, or I believe, I think it did. So like it was an exciting moment. Kind of the Jays complete sweep in Boston against a rival, kick a team when they're down, do exactly what you wanted them to do. And it was cool to see a guy like Brandon Valenzuela, who has been for the most part a pretty positive story for this team this year. It was cool to see him have that moment.
Yeah, the only caveat with that one is the Blue Jays blew a 3-0 lead late and tried hard to give that one out, but they did get the job done, and that was a good moment for us here too. Shout out to beating Paul Skeens. That is probably a big moment as well. George Springer taking him deep in the first inning of that game caused Livy Dunn to swear on national TV, which is always fun, and that's where the Blue Jays stand. But that's probably it for the major positive moments. Sound off in the comments if you have another one.
Yeah. Do we have like a big DFA that happened? Like maybe Yariel Rodriguez going back down to the minor leagues after coming up. That's one of my highlights on the season.
Eric Lauer maybe eventually getting off this roster. That could be one too.
That's a good call. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have a thought on Max Scherzer and his 10 ERA on the season, but it's not ideal.
Well, okay. So go.
I was going to say low lights. There's a ton of them on this season, but for me, the one like major low light that sticks in my head is that Jeff Hoffman blow up in Baltimore, where the Jays were up 5-1, and that one, because I just had an article at the website about the Blue Jays' chances of getting over 500. That was the one that could have told a whole different path of the season, and it just feels like that's going to be the moment we look back on of one of the worst moments of the Blue Jays season here.
Yeah, I wrote down Cody Ponce's blowing out his knee in his first start in like the third inning against the Rockies. That was really rough. I wrote down Kirk breaking his thumb right in the midst of losing 7 of 8. That was a really dark time at the start of the season. I had the Jeff Hoffman one, and then my final one was any Patrick Corbin start, low light on the season.
Sure. Patrick Corbin did have, I think, one good start mixed in there somewhere, but even then we weren't buying it. There were like the throwing errors early from Tyler Heineman that cost us some games in the White Sox that stuck out to my head as well. Like pair it with Vlad's whole struggle on the season and whatnot, with Dalton Varsho not carrying over his big swing changes he made last year into this season. Like it's just been a lot of dread, but a lot of new major league debuts for the season here. Owen, any other lowlights before I run some stats at you from the first half of the season?
No, I think I'm good. Like we could probably do this whole episode on lowlights from the first half, but I'm tired of doing that kind of stuff. So like, let's hear some stats.
Yeah, so through 81 games, this is a good time to sit and like analyze the season a little bit, because it's very easy. You just double all these stats and that's where their season line's going to end up. You can't do that. I understand, but it makes for a good talking point. So I'm going to list like the top 3 Blue Jays in some certain stats, and we can power through this quickly, but you just tell me if you have any surprises in this list. And For the first one, we'll start with hitters. Just games played leader. Your leader is Kaz Okamoto, who played in 80 of the first 81 games. Ernie Clement is next with 79, and Vlad and Andres Jimenez next with 78. Any surprises there?
Honestly, no. It's kind of exactly what I expected. It's good to see the durability from Kaz. Other than that, kind of lines up with the eye test.
Yeah, those are all players you thought you would get in there. And it just goes to show maybe these are the 4 players that haven't gotten injured yet. That's why these 4 are very high on that list. But, they've been some of our, aside from Vlad and Andres Jimenez, at least Ernie and Kaz have been 2 of the best Blue Jays stories of the season. And it makes sense they've been on the field a lot. All right, home run leaders. Owen, Kaz Okamoto had 19 through the first 20 games. Second on the team was George Springer with 8. And then Jesus Sanchez, Dalton Varsho, Ernie Clement, Brandon Valenzuela, Andres Jimenez, all with 7. Note, I didn't say Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on that list of 7 names for the home run leaders. Any surprise there from you?
Well, the fact that Vlad's not there, I thought for sure. I thought with every ounce of my being, I believed that this was the year that Vlad kind of sets the baseline and gets back to 30 homers and is himself. And he wasn't. The power from Kaz, he was sold to us as like a contact first guy. What an absolute lie. That was it's just not true at all. This guy is whiffing and he's hitting home runs, and he's been tough to watch at times because of how inconsistent it can be with this amount of swing and miss. But I think the home runs, they have been exciting. And the fact that this guy's on pace for almost 40, he's going to have a real shot at it if he can stay hot. It's cool, man. It's exciting to see.
He'll get some Rookie of the Year looks for sure for Kaz Okamoto. I feel like if you took the scouting report from Munetaka Murakami and just gave it to Kaz, that would make a lot more sense than how we got here.
Yeah.
Big swing and miss, big power, but that's what we're getting this year. RBIs on the season. Kaz leads the team with 53 through 81 games. Vlad is next with 34, and Andres Jimenez with 33. Any surprises there?
There's a huge gap between 1 and 2, and I think that's a problem.
Yes, I agree. You'll note that RBIs is more of a counting stat. So, the 3 of the 4 players who have played a lot are on this list. Andres Jimenez, I think he got 10 of those 33 RBIs in the first week of the season, and somehow still 3rd on the team is kind of crazy. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him, who's probably been the one Blue Jay who's actually been decent in clutch situations on the air.
In clutch situations, in every other situation, he's been pretty bad. But
yes,
but you are right.
Yeah, the fact he's still 3rd is wild.
Let's pull up the weighted runs created plus. 84 for Andres Jimenez this season. That's not very good.
Honestly, higher than I thought. So there is that. All right. Yeah. And then in terms of Fangraphs WAR on the hitter side, Kaz has a 2.0 F4. Brandon Valenzuela 2nd with 1.7. Varsho 3rd with 1.5. Any surprises there?
Yeah. What's Vlad at?
I know he had negative 0.3 on the season. On the series, sorry. So whatever it is, it got worse.
On the season, he's at 0.6 F4. That's
Yikes.
bad.
That is terrible.
Not really surprises. Dalton Varsho low. I think you expected the defense to be way better than it's been, and the defense is a huge part of F4, and it's been bad. I think Kaz kind of where you expected them to be. If you could get 4 wins out of him, kind of a Bo Bichette season, pretty awesome. So I think he's met the high end of expectations. Kind of a weird way to say that. He hasn't exceeded anything. He hasn't been way better than anybody really expect him to be, but he's been quite good relative to what we expected.
Yeah, my surprise was not seeing Ernie Clement on this list, who's going to be an all-star game. It's just because his defensive numbers have been down across the board, and F4 takes that into effect. He's only at 1.2 on the season, so that surprised me as well. On the pitching side, Owen, 3 stats. First one, just basic innings pitched. Kevin Gausman had 95. Dylan Cease was at 78 and 2/3. This was before his start in this series here. And Patrick Corbin at 69. 3 of our starters that have been in the rotation all season. Any of those surprise you?
Well, Patrick Corbin, if you told me Patrick Corbin was going to be 3rd on the team in innings, I would have told you that something had gone terribly wrong. And it has, I guess. So
yes, Spencer Miles is actually 4th on this list. So shout out to Spencer Miles, I suppose. But that's also a problem if Spencer Miles is 4th on this list. In terms of ERA, it's our back end relievers. Louis Varland, a stunning 0.82. This is minimum 30 innings pitched on the season. Tyler Rogers, 1.91, and Dylan Cease, 2.75 are your Blue Jays ERA leaders. Any thoughts there?
I am honestly surprised Jeff Hoffman is not on that list. I thought he was gonna have a good season. I think,
Yeah.
well, I don't know. We know the Jeff Hoffman conversation. We don't have to do much on it there, but like he's one of those guys that should be in that conversation. I think Cease having that type of ERA over this type of span, and we did talk some trash about him early in this episode. So like give credit to him. On the whole, he has been quite good. He's going to be in Cy Young conversations. I think it was just like this conversation today in this episode kind of came out of the frustration of you needed him so bad, and that was the time where he's going to put up one of his worst performances of the season.
Yeah, on the season as a whole, he's been pretty good objectively. It's just we feel like we want more out of Dylan Cease. You know, you're paying him a ton of money. You know the talent is there, kind of like Vlad on the hitting side. You can see it from Cease on the pitching side. So our expectations are high, and we just want a little bit more from Dylan Cease. But 2.75 ERA, not bad for his first half season as a Toronto Blue Jay. And then Fangraphs war on the pitcher side. Dylan Cease leads the team with 2.8. Going back to what you said, it's been a fantastic season. Louis Varland next at 1.9 and Kevin Gausman 1.7. Any surprises there?
Yeah, seeing a reliever in like how many innings, like just over 30 for Louis Varland at that type of F war, that's insane, man. That's really cool stuff.
I agree. We've talked so much about Louis Varland, but it has been absolutely phenomenal from what we've got from him. Even though the ERA has jumped slightly over the past like 2 weeks or so, unbelievable stuff. And the fact that there's even a reliever on this list at all says something. So I'm with you there.
Yeah, man, that's cool stuff.
Yeah, that's all I had on the stats side. So you can double that. We'll get to the Kazumoka Oda 40 home run season. That sounds fantastic to me. But a lot of like low numbers even on that through 81 games. And the Blue Jays as a whole need to get a little bit better there. So,
well, they need to get a lot better because they are 6 games below 500. And I think that kind of brings us to the second half. And I pulled up one stat, like going forward, the Jays have the 21st hardest strengths of schedule remaining. That's bottom 10 in baseball. Like that's good. That is good for your chances. Like as much as it feels like you've played yourself out of this race, you're behind 7 teams in the wild card standings now. That's not even including the top 3 teams in each of their divisions. You're behind the Minnesota Twins. You're behind the Athletics. You're behind the Houston Astros, the Seattle Mariners, Cleveland Guardians, and of course the New York Yankees. You got a lot of work to do. You're kind of buried right now. There are a lot of teams to go through. You're only 2.5 games back of that final wildcard spot. An extended stretch of good play still gets you there, and your schedule is not that hard. You've got a lot of games against Boston left. You got a lot of games against Baltimore left, right? Those are bad teams. One of the bad teams you're facing is coming up this week. It's the New York Mets. It's the New York Mets and Bo Bichette coming into town. And I think if it's going to happen, it's got to happen now, man. Like, I don't know how many times we've come on here and said it. I think it's bleak, but like, do you have any thoughts on the second half? Like, what do you want to see? What needs to change? What's the number one thing?
The players just got to play better, simply. That's been the moral of the thing we've said the whole episode here, where like Vlad's got to get up. George Springer, honestly, I don't think has been good enough as a DH to be warranted as an everyday DH anymore. Like, the starting pitching needs to be better. We're getting to the point soon, Owen, where we haven't have to have yet if we should really start looking if this Blue Jays team should start selling off assets. I don't want to have that conversation, but that might be something that we have to look at coming here soon. I think the Blue Jays should just go out and win a ton of games so we don't have to have that conversation. But the fact that this team has struggled kind of makes you a little bit more hesitant then of dealing away and getting that big fish, like giving away, like trading a JoJo Parker or an Arjun Namala or something like that. Right. So that's something worth keeping in mind here. It would be nice. Just start winning some games. Let's get on the Mets. They're down. You did it to the Red Sox when they were here. I don't care if they have a new manager. Let that new manager go in and feel the grief, I suppose, of living in New York and playing for that or managing that Mets team, and get out and let's just have a series.
Yeah, man, let's have a series. You mentioned the trade deadline. I think that's going to be a super interesting conversation as we get into July. Next time me and you talk, it'll be in July. So that's exciting stuff.
Yep.
It's cool. That's good to see that like the season does not stop as much as we may be begging it to stop. It's going to keep going. I think the trade deadline conversation is one that you and I are going to have over the next couple weeks, a little bit of an ongoing conversation. But if the Blue Jays are exactly where they are right now, 6 games under 500, they play 500 baseball going into the week of the All-Star game, of the trade deadline. Would you want to see them sell or buy if things just kind of stay where they are?
I'm not seeing enough under the hood that shows like this team has been majorly underperforming, right? Like I feel like like true talent where this Blue Jays team is right now, their record is what like deserved. They have the record they should be having. And I don't want to trade away a bunch of future assets to a chance that maybe you squeak into that wild card spot. If they go on a run, they put themselves in a playoff position. Maybe you acquire a couple of relievers and hope you can get in there. Sure. But until I see some notable changes, I think maybe even selling off some assets might be the play to try to, you know, kind of do what you did in 2024, get some people up in the team and do some stuff.
Great. That's fun.
Yes. It's not where we thought we'd be, but here we are.
Yeah, that sucks. The other thing, and I want to talk about right before I give like the final series preview and we say goodbye, Ernie Clement is going to be the starting all-star at second base in the American League. How exciting is that, man, to see him get over 2 million votes? So cool to see for him, a guy that deserves it, I think, more than anybody. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, it's one of the few bright spots we have in this season so far, right? But it's been nice to see. He's been hitting well. It's been well-deserved. Ernie Clement has kind of turned himself into like the superstar. Like internationally, he got on that big stage in the postseason. He got to play on the World Baseball Classic. It's absolutely well-deserved for Ernie Clement. He's one of the most beloved Blue Jays we have here too. So that is very good. Well-deserved, honestly. And I hope it's the first of many all-star appearances for Ernie Clement.
Yeah, man. Awesome stuff to see a guy that was DFA'd by like the worst team in baseball at the time in the A's. Just like, it cannot be said enough how unlikely his story is and how cool it is to see a guy like him kind of achieve this. Yeah, with that, do you have agree or disagree questions for me?
I have 3, and we can run through these very rapidly. Some of them are kind of fun. Some of them are more serious. The first one, though, we did see a clip of Alejandro Kirk when he hit his home run. He went into the dugout, and we saw Vladimir Guerrero Jr. tried to put the home run jacket on him. Now, Hazel May later reported that one of the sleeves was stuck. Kirk wasn't snubbing Vlad of the home run jacket. But my agree or disagree for me is that Alejandro Kirk should have snubbed the home run jacket. Do you agree or disagree?
I think the people that are mad about it and mad about him snubbing it are dumb, and I think the people, sorry, Jesse, that are happy about it are also dumb. I think it's just a non-conversation. It's about the baseball game, man. The home run made it 7-3, so it's not like a blowout. At the same time, I think Kirky kind of recognized the team not playing well. Maybe not the time to be showboating about solo homers. I don't know. I think Vlad also needed a win, and I think a win for Vlad is getting to put the jacket on somebody, so would have just liked to see Kirky just wear it. I don't know. This is the problem with the home run jacket is at least the conversations like this. And I think these conversations maybe not that productive.
Yeah, I really do not care, to be honest. Whether or not a guy wears a jacket or not does not mean he hates the team. It doesn't mean Vlad is not the leader of this team anymore. Don't think it means any of that, but I thought it would be a creative talking point for that section there. Second one, and this is a little bit more like inside baseball-y, but Owen, do you agree that it's time to have a conversation about Pete Walker as the pitching coach? I say that because the pitching staff has struggled, particularly in this series. Is it time maybe to have that conversation of making a change in that department?
Yeah, I think it's a conversation that we've maybe been ready to have for a while now about Pete Walker. I think he's, if not the longest tenured pitching coach in baseball, one of the longest tenured pitching coaches in baseball. And the Jays really just haven't had great pitching staffs really that often, like in a long time at least, right?
Yes, it's, they got it in the 2016 team. I think when the Blue Jays really had, Aaron Sanchez, Marco Estrada, and all them were really good. Pete Walker was around for that. He's had some good success stories. I think turning Robbie Ray into a Cy Young winner has done wonders. Kevin Gausman's had great seasons here. So he has a track record of success, but it's, I wonder if it's maybe time to get a new voice in here for how good Pete Walker has been. And I think maybe that's a conversation we should explore a little deeper another time.
Yeah, Jays had the 4th best team ERA in 2023. Since then, they've been below league average. And like I think like that 2022 team, the year before that, like middle of pack again. So like, yeah, the Jays really have not been like one of those teams like you kind of look at the Guardians and or the Rays. And they always just run out, no matter who they employ, they run out just nasty pitching staffs that like it's impossible to score against. The Jays really just haven't done that. I don't know. I don't know if that's a pitching coach thing as much as it's a personnel thing and a roster building thing, but I don't know. I don't think Pete Walker's getting fired. So maybe a non-conversation.
Yes, I don't think so either, but maybe it's be something the Blue Jays look into this offseason. And my last one, and this is kind of fan related at all, but I do think it might be time for the Blue Jays to get rid of that "Hey Baby" song they play in the middle of the 8th inning. I thought it was cool when like the Canadian World Junior teams did it like 5 or 6 years ago. I've had enough of it, Owen. I think it's time for a change.
Yeah, it's a catchy song. It's kind of one of those, like, I think they're trying to do like the Fenway Park, like,
Yeah.
Sweet Caroline thing. I don't know. I could. It's not for me. I'm there to watch the baseball game. I think a lot of people go to the Rogers Center for the beer, and they go for the music, and they go for the vibes. And if that's your vibe and that's fun, and it makes people happy, I'm fine with it being there.
Yeah, I agree. I just think we should choose something a little different. Pick a Canadian artist or something. Like pick something a little more different. To me, it just seems kind of cheesy in a way that I don't really like. So either way, that's my old man boomer take of the day for that song, and maybe it's time to switch it up.
I think a lot of, and not even just Blue Jays, but a lot of baseball game ops are cheesy and corny. I think if it was up to me, it would be a silent stadium with just walk-up songs and fan noise, and that's all I want. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in 2026.
Oh, and one day I do hope we get to experience that type of baseball, because that sounds great to me too.
Yeah, man. Alrighty. So this Mets series, it's a big one. Bo Bichette back in town. Good to welcome back an old friend, maybe. Bo Bichette back in the Rogers Center. Maybe good vibes for the Blue Jays, because the Jays did have a lot of success with him in the Rogers Center. It's going to be Trey Savage going up against Sean Manaea, Kevin Gausman against Nolan McLean, and then, oh my God, Patrick Corbin again, hopefully for the final time against Freddie Peralta. Do you feel good about really any of these pitching matchups?
Patrick Corbin on Canada Day. That's what we're going to want to see. A big sold out crowd. We have the whole baseball stadium with eyes on Canada during that time, and the whole world gets to watch Patrick Corbin pitch. No pressure, kid. Get out there and turn it around. But baseball's dumb. We've seen enough of it. You just know Patrick Corbin's going to go out there and he's going to deal against a team he's played a lot over the course of his career. Look, it's at this point, it's like I don't really care who we're up against. They still have a good hitting team on that New York side. You're still going to have to play fundamental baseball. The Mets have some young players coming up here, like, Jared Young, AJ Ewing, Ronnie Mauricio, Brett Beatty, etc., who have done some good things for the team. They are a good pitching team. Maybe you can get into their bullpen a little bit and whatnot, but the Blue Jays need to play fundamental baseball, play good defense, run the base as well. If they do that, I like our chances, but they haven't been doing that for the time being. Turn that around, and then we can start to see things come together a little bit.
Yeah, Mets versus Jays is going to be bad versus worse. Mets have lost 8 of 9. They are 35-49 on the season. And of course, we just talked about how bleak things are in Blue Jays land. So, yikes, this one might be just a complete rock fight to watch. Hopefully a little bit more fun than the last couple series. And Jesse and I are going to be back to break it all down next time we talk, which will be in July.
Mm-hmm. Yes, have a happy Canada Day, everybody. Shout out to Team Canada for their run in the World Cup. It's been electric watching them. And, at least, hey, there's good different other sports around we can cheer for right now until the Blue Jays take center stage yet again.
Absolutely. Jesse, thank you so much for joining me. And if you enjoyed listening, please give us 5 stars, like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Find Jesse and I on social media. You can read J Center, check out the YouTube. There's so many places you can find us. So do all that good stuff. And Jesse, you and I will talk soon.
Peace, my friend.